Yeah, buddy. What's happening? What's happening, fam? Let me get this set up right. Yeah. So today is a special day, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, today is a special Dag Nabbit day. Now, let me tell you why. It's very simple. We have this every year, each and every one of us. And what it is today, Facebook, YouTube. Today is my birthday. Woo, wait a minute now, hold on. Let me. Yeah, it's my birthday. Now, you guys over here on Facebook, you guys are not going to hear all this clapping and applause. But YouTube, it's my birthday. Yeah. I ain't going to tell you how old I am. Some of y'all who know me, you already know how old I am. Dag nabbit. Yeah. All right, listen. Today's topic, right? First off, let me start with this. Happy Black History Day. Happy Black History Day. All right? Every day of the year, we should say this. We should salute this. And for everybody who has, have we thought about for Black History Month that's been doing good, and we want to talk about them. We want to always bring them up. You want to always share that positive information with each other. So this is my way of showing that positive about us every single day of the year. Yes. It's my birthday. Y'all gonna hear me say that all day. But anyway, today's topic is going to be being tested every day. Constantly. There is not a day that goes by that we are not being tested. Right? There's not a day go by. Excuse me. Hello. There's not a day go. There's not a day go by that we're not being tested. Right? And I definitely would love to share that with you guys. I want to talk about how important it is to be able to actually overcome these tests or pass these tests. And it's a matter of our thought pattern. It's the way that we think. And it's the way that we respond to a lot of things that happen. Like today, there was I won't get into specifics, but I'll tell you this. Today was a very, very special day for me. And a lot of y'all who know me will be totally surprised in another 2 months from now. Woo, I'm going to just leave y'all with that for now. Okay? But I will tell you this, that it was very testing and trying when obstacles get in the way at the last moment. When you really think you got it down packed and ready to go, you cross your T's and you dotted your I's. Now, what can easily happen, and that happens often, is that things get in the way that's out of your control. No matter how much you plan for it, it seemed to be a situation where you have to do something to find a way around your obstacle, either over, under, side, it doesn't matter. You have to do what you can to get around that obstacle that's trying to block you. Now, if you're a spiritual person, of course, we know when you are on the brink of doing something good, you're about to get on something that's really going to make a change, not just in your life, but in other people's lives that know you as well. And then something get in the way that just was not figured at all. Like, wow, this can't be or would never really be an issue, but it winds up being a bigger issue than you expected. You never anticipated that to happen. But when it does, what's being tested is a lot of things within you. Is that how bad do you want something? How bad do you truly want whatever it is that obstacles are jumping in your way? And when you recognize that why these obstacles, and matter of fact, the source of why these obstacles are being put there, you're being tested in many, 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 many ways. And it could be so many different things to so many different people. And like for me, for example, I come to grips with my temper. I learned how to work with my temper a lot better. Now, if you met me when I was in my 20s, then you would not think that I was a level-headed person at all, because I would have probably smacked the black off you. Let me not, but I'm just saying that that growth from back then till now was very, very, very important and vital for my existence today. You know, so I would say that I've overcome a lot of tests that have been thrown at me, a lot of them, and I mean, even today at the supermarket, there was a test. Somebody thought that we were stealing from the store that worked there at the store. And they come over there, and most people would take that highly offensive. By rights, we should. Because just because we are who we are in this brown, beautiful skin, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're a thief. You know what I mean? And they came over and they swore up and down. They didn't say nothing, but they were just going through the list. And they're checking the list, and they actually found an item that has been scanned. And actually, we bought two of the same item, so it's been scanned twice. All right. So now I'm being calm, and it was very easy for me to get to a place where I'm like, I'm offended by you coming over here assuming, because when I said this, well, basically, let me tell you what happened, because she brought the items up on the screen, which I never seen before. I never seen one of the workers bring up the work, like when you're scanning on your own, right? When you're scanning on your own, you wind up, they bring it up, and then you see everything that you've been doing on the screen, And I'm like, well, this looks like you're trying to catch us stealing or something, So to me, I was offended, but I think I dealt with it in a very, very good way. I didn't go off the handle, which I think if it was an earlier time in my life, I would have. But just by being offended, by assuming that I was stealing. So she put it back on there. So now it's on there 3 times instead of 2, because we got 2 of the items. But she scanned it again because she did not see it a second time. So she scanned it again. And in turn, had to take it back off again. And at that point, I'm starting to get involved a little bit, but I'm being cool with it, but I'm talking a little, above my breath so she could hear me, like she thought we were stealing, and that was the thing that was a test for not just me, it was a test for all of us that was in that little surrounding area that had, that thing had happened. So now it was up to us to decide how we're going to respond to this thing. We could respond in a not so kosher way. It doesn't really get us too far, but it'll definitely send a strong message to the individual who assumed that we were stealing something. I've never been a thief, She didn't know that, but now, she made herself look kind of bad, But that was just a test for me. That's how I process this thing. I process that particular incident as being a test. And how will I respond to the test? How will I react to it? I had options. And I had some not so great thought options, and I had some pretty nice options. And I chose to take the lighter, in which I did. And as you can see, here I am, live at 5. Because it could have went way west, east, or north, or whatever you want to call it, It could have went in a bad, bad, bad way. And I may not be sitting here in front of you right now, live at 5, right? But because of the things that I've learned in my time, I learned how to whoosah a problem, a situation that is not so much in my favor, And even earlier before that, looking for very important paperwork. I didn't know I needed this paperwork, or I would have had it prepared before. But today is the day I was supposed to have that paperwork ready to go at a certain time. All right. Now, when I found out, y'all, that I had to have a particular paper, I could not find it. Because out of all the dagnabbit, please no, please don't do that. Out of all the stuff that I had ready, it turned out to be we didn't even need it. We didn't need that paper, right? So that was another test because frustrations were flying, fingers was pointing, and I chose to take it like this. I know that it's my fault. It turned out to be my fault that I didn't have everything in order. It was just that one paper that was holding everything up, right? And I had to take responsibility for that. I had to simply say, you know what? Instead of me firing back or getting more frustrated out of already being frustrated, because I'm thinking now, this is the only day between now and maybe another month from now determines if I do this or not. So I needed to get it done today, and I had to get it done before 3:30. And now we're looking at 1 o'clock, and I'm still scratching my head and getting mad. But I had to husa things. I had to put everything in perspective, and I had to accept exactly what was about to happen, the way that it looked like it was going to happen. But a suggestion came through that said, just call them and find out. And now I was already upset and aggravated and all of that. And I was like, I know what they said on the app. When you go on the app online and they tell you to follow the instructions. I'm following the instructions, but when we got to that particular part, well, I'm following the instructions, and when we got to that particular part, it put a stop because it asked for a specific form, paper, and I didn't have it. I have it in the house somewhere amongst all my other papers, which I thought I was actually, pretty organized, but I realized that I am not. And I tore the house up. My room. I tore this room up looking for that dagnabbit paper, and it bothered me to no end. Trust me when I tell you, it got to a point where I was like, okay, I have to accept that I may have to push this off to another date, But after the phone call, after the suggestion of the phone call, that, I'm hearing all that, every bit of that, After that phone call, I heard every bit of that. And I was saying to myself, dagnabbit. I'm like, dagnabbit, man. I didn't even have to have that form. I could have requested that form in person. So that's what I did. But see, that was a test. You have to put everything in line. You have to put everything in line, because if you allow yourself to get so frustrated that it has you abandoning your plan completely, that is a sign of you are not really having things in the proper order in your world, which can be adjusted. So we all have to adjust to that, So that was one of the things for me, is putting everything in the right perspective. And I think I've gotten to that level now that I know how to get past a situation or a problem. These tests are constant. They're every day. There may be small tests. They may be big tests. They may be the type of tests that you feel like, you know what, this is the end. I just can't. I can't. But it's a test all the same. And along with those tests, you have to examine and say, what is the best option for me? What is the best option for me to take? What is the best decision to make? Right? And that helps you literally decide how you're going to get past this particular test, or this obstacle, or this problem, or this situation, whatever you may call it, or whatever it is a test. Once you got it in your mind to put it in a proper perspective in your world, then it's easier for you to deal with it. I had to learn that the hard way. And there's a lot of things I'm still having to work on. That's why sometimes when people ask me, are you a Christian or what have you, I say, yes, I'm a Christian. And I'll follow up with that I am a work in progress. And I think each and every one of us are. We're a work in progress, because we're not perfect. So we always have to constantly work on being better. And that is what's most important to each and every one of us. We have to stay grounded. I talk about being grounded all the time. Being grounded is the key to a lot of our situations and obstacles and problems within ourselves. We have to look inside. I spoke of this many times before. Look inside of us and be honest, and we have to learn that we're not perfect. Recognize that we're not perfect, even though we put this front up to appear as if we're all of that to everybody else. But in reality, we're just regular people who just trying to show that we got it together. We don't want people to think we don't have it together. Why I'm sharing this with you? Because I'm real. I will be free. That's what keeps me somewhat mentally free, is to be as real as I am. And that's telling you that I still have a lot of things to fix. So I'm sharing with you one of my issues that I ran across today on my birthday. And I kept saying, it's my birthday, dagnabbit. It's my dagnabbit birthday. And still, I'm going through this. Yes, y'all. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Yeah. So, but look, first and foremost, the most important thing that anybody can give advice to another person who is dealing with getting past certain issues in their life is to simply know that these issues are tests. Now, where do these tests come from? Ooh, yeah. God tests you as well, just to see if you're faithful. Yes, he does. And guess what else is a test? Temptation is a beast. Temptation is a beast of a test. Yeah. How honest are we? You know what I mean? How honest are you? How honest are you? If somebody you see walking ahead of you dropped the $100 bill, they didn't know they dropped it. It's not a prank. It's real life. Would you pick that $100 up and catch up to that person and let them know that they dropped it? Or would you pick that $100 up and be like, he don't know he even dropped it, so it's mine now? Are you of that nature? Well, let me tell you, if you are of that nature, that's not right. It ain't right. You know why I say it like that? Because I did it before. I did it before. I'm going to tell you when. It was years ago now. Years ago before I've come to this realization of who I am. But it was years ago. And did I feel guilty then? No, I did not feel guilty then. But how do I feel about thinking back on it? How do I feel? I feel like, what? I should have given that man his $100 back. That's why I use that particular example, because it happened to me. In my life somewhere, it happened to me, Right? So I am simply like, you know what? I had to think about the type of person I was actually practicing to be. I had to think about it, And did I like what realization that I've come up with about myself? And there was a lot of things about me that I didn't even like. I didn't like the way I responded to situation and things and people. I didn't like it. That situation with the $100 bill the guy dropped. I should have gave it to him, but I didn't. I feel bad about it now. That's just like when I had to get into a scrap or two with somebody out there, even in Walmart or when I was driving trucks. I never really got on the down end of a scrap out in the street. I never was that guy who just got beat down completely. That never was me. To me, I was the guy that I was determined. I would size you up first. And if I size you up to a point and I give you that test to see if you actually have the ability to whoop me, and then you can't pass those little tests, then I'm gonna whoop you. I didn't feel bad about that. But now I do. There's something about the change in me now that makes me feel like, wow, man, I really didn't have to go that route. I didn't have to do that. A lot of you know that I do practice with the boxing thing. So that's why I think I don't really get dogged too much, which I better watch what I'm saying. Because soon as you air something like that, then you get dogged, you know? But I'll be working on not putting myself in those positions anymore. In other words, thinking twice about my actions, you know? Being in control of my temper, you know? Being able to pass the tests when they're thrown at me, regardless on where they come from, you know? And we all, every day, have these tests. Sometimes we pass tests that we don't even realize that it was a test. Because it's such a small thing that happened to you. But then that decision that you made literally helped develop further who you are. And if you are the person that may have failed the test and didn't think twice about it, it helps develop who you truly are. And if you never stop and take time to think about that small thing or that big thing or whatever the case is, you never thought about it if you passed or failed the test. You just go day-to-day life just the way you know it. And then something tragic happens and then you make a bad decision and it can cost you your time of freedom or it can cost somebody else their life. And then you say to yourself, why did I do that? Why didn't I do B, C, and D instead of A? Then you start examining yourself then, but the situation has gotten to a point now, it's a mountain of a problem or a situation, but it's said and done. And you are the one who was directly involved with that thing. And that is where we have to calm ourselves down and think twice, sometimes three, rethinking, not overthink, because that's another problem I fell into by overthinking something, overanalyzing. And I would do that so often that it'll take the blessings right out of my mouth because I overanalyzed so much. And I kept on thinking about it. And then I don't chopped it up this way in my mind and I come to a decision. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to do it. And then I'm back off and be, no, wait a minute. And then I start chopping it up again over here in the left part of my brain. And then I'm like, well, I'm getting ready to do it now. Yep, I'm going for it, man. Nah, I ain't gonna do it. Then I chop it up again in the center part of my brain, however many corners of the brain we have to think. I don't put that idea in every space in my little brain, and I come up with the thing of, nope, not doing it. Heck to the nah. I done talk myself right out of it. And then come to find out later on that nabbit, I should have did that. I should have did that thing a long time ago. But I talked myself out of it. Overanalyze it. Have you done that? Have you ever overanalyzed things and just talk yourself right out of something good? I've done that. And I'm going to tell you, I've done it more than once. Hey, I've done it more than once. You know what I mean? Dag nabbit. Right? So this is always being able to put things in the proper perspective in your life, in your world, the way that you think. Change. Everybody can change. Everybody can change. Even me. At the age I am now, today's my birthday. And at the age that I am now. I told you I was gonna do that along the way, just in case anybody check this out later on and be like, okay, he's doing his little yappity dab dabbity do stuff, and then he throw in that it's his birthday. Yeah. So yes, today is my special day, y'all. It's my born day. You know what I mean? All my kids and my loved ones don't wish me a happy birthday today, and I appreciate it from each and every one of y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am and I will be your best buddy forever. It's my birthday. All right. But understand my point here, right? Every day we're being tested. Even if it comes to a person who's not even leaving their house, it's a matter of the thought patterns now. Because you get to sit there and you watch TV and you get to see all of these things on TV. But then it's developing a particular thought in your mind when you see it. Not just a movie, it could be the news. The news could be feeding a whole bunch of crap out there that's really going on. But now you have to process this. And when you process it, sometimes you get an attitude because you really disagree with A, B, and C done did that crap again. Now you're mad. Now you're starting to wish bad on the person. Have you done that? Yeah, I've done it before. I talk about these things because these are things that I am familiar with. These are things that I personally have been through. About whatever I talk about on social media. These are things that I personally experienced. Is the reason why I feel I have the right to talk about it. And I have, matter of fact, good advice for people who are willing to listen. Because it's a common sense answer to it. Why didn't I figure that out before while I was doing it or thinking that way? Because I was literally living that way. When you live a certain way, it's just like people who smoke, drink, and get high. They do it so often, this is what they enjoy. So why are they going to try to talk themselves out of something they enjoy? People don't do that. That's not human nature. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you now. Yeah. I had all of those issues going on in my time. I used to smoke. Yes, I did. I used to drink. Yes, I did. Matter of fact, Old English, 800, Johnny Walker red and orange juice. That was my choice of liquor or beer or whatever, malt liquor, whatever you want to call it. I'll drink anything that gave me that euphoric feeling, that buzz, that feeling you get. You chasing something. It may not taste great. You drinking it for a purpose. But then now, how much sense to me back then it would have made for me to talk myself out of something I enjoyed. That's what we're faced with today. People smoking weed. Before weed was legal, dag nabbit, I was called and considered a pothead. I was the pothead you didn't want hanging around because I smoke all your weed. That was me. I was not going to be like, oh, yo, bro, y'all smoking, I'm out of here. Nah, I was like, you got any more joints, bro? Any more? I'll roll them for you. You know what I mean? Y'all better be careful of that, too. The way that they rolling stuff like now today, they slobbering all over that thing. And then they smoke it and pass it around. What? Oh, no, you're not. You not passing the joint around to me, and you slobbing all over it, no telling what kind of life you've been living out there. Now you smoking up all they slobber and everything that's on the daggone, the spliff, the joint, the whatever you call it these days. I'm not doing that. No, thank you. You can keep that. Yeah, y'all can keep that. I'm not smoking up your slobber. Man. Y'all didn't think about that, though. Y'all just think about this some good weed, boy. Woo, yeah. Mm-hmm. These are tests, constant tests that we're always being faced with day in and day out. Some of them we recognize, and some of them we don't recognize. You understand? There are positive tests, and there are negative. Actually, all tests are there to determine if you're going to be positive or negative. How much sense does that make? I just thought about that. Just think about it. I want you to think about that. Tests are put there to determine if there's a positive or negative. Well, if that's the case, Mr. Kirkland, what about when we take tests in school? What is that supposed to be? What? When I fail, it's a negative? When I pass, it's a positive? Is that what you're saying? Like, it's good and bad. It's bad if I fail, and it's good if I pass? Something like that. Something to that effect. Yeah. You're being tested. You are being tested. See, I'm being tested right now. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. I'm about to take this hand right here. I'm about to use it upside somebody's head real quick. You know what I'm saying, y'all? But look, on the real though, tests are in our everyday life. Everyday life. You hear me? And there's no way around it. Now you may hopefully that I may even open your eyes to it. Some of you. Some of you never even thought about it before. Some of you just feel like, you know what? It's just, I wake up, do what I do in the course of my day, lay back down, go to bed. Next day, wake up, do what I do, come back home, lay down, go to bed. Same thing. Don't even think deeper into what kind of a day did you have? Were you tested today? Did you pass? And if you were tested, did you pass any of them? Did you? Because the way that you pass these tests, it helped develop your character. That's for real. It helped develop your character of what type of person that you are, what kind of heart that you have. If you have no remorse when you do something and it negatively affects someone else or hurt them, and you have no remorse in your heart, mind you, obviously you got that way over time. So maybe you have been tested in those areas of being concerned of others over and over, and maybe you have not been passing those tests, and now your heart is really, very desensitized to other people's feelings. So you just go on with your day like it ain't nothing. Isn't that how Grouch, or was it the Grouch, or those type people are? Their heart is desensitized to caring and loving because they've been having the opportunity over and over again each day to prove or to show or to change the way that they currently think that may not be positive. And they fail this test. And then it just becomes a normal thing. It becomes a normal way. And then when they do operate, some people who know these people already gonna say, he ain't gonna say yeah. Nah, you might as well forget it because he's not the friendly type. He's not gonna, they come to that conclusion right off based on how you have been reacting and responding prior to them having to make that determination about you. Right? It's a matter of how you put out your perception to the world. And the world will misunderstand what you're putting out at times. Some will get it right on the daggone nail. They'll be like, yep, that's boom. They'll say that, and that's how the person really is. Then sometimes they just totally misunderstand. Sometimes they know what type of person they are, and they change the narrative for them to be looked at in a negative way. And it's not really so. Or maybe you assume something about somebody, and you won't really get the real gist of them until you talk to them. And all that yapper used to hear about them, it changes when you talk to them. Then you realize, no, man, this person is not quite like what I was told. Right? These are tests constantly. So in other words, you judging a person, you're judging an individual based on what you heard from someone else. That's a test in itself. Will you find out on your own? Or will you just take somebody else's word for it and say, okay, that person don't like him, so I don't like him. You just failed that test. Right? You just failed that test. And if there's something that you do over and over and over and over again, then you're creating a particular way about yourself. That's a normal thing for you to do, instead of actually finding out for your own self, for to go to the source that people are pointing at and say that source is no good. You go to the source and you do your own investigation and come up with your own determination. Right? We're constantly being tested. You know who I think is being tested even way more than just regular people? I believe, this is just my personal opinion, they would tell you, nah, I'm not being tested because I'm too grounded. I think preachers are being tested way harder than just regular people. I believe. What do you think? You think? Because they have to be held to a higher standard than regular people. People who are trying to get to their position of being respected and being respected as a Christian and being believed as a Christian. They're constantly being tested. Because everything seems to be a sin. Everything that you do. Seems like if you scratch your butt the wrong way, it's a sin. I just threw that in there. I know better than that, y'all. I know better. But you understand what I'm saying? Everything is a dagnabbit sin, and a preacher is doing his or her absolute best not to sin. But they themselves as well sin. Maybe not like we do, like people who are seeking to be better better individuals, Christians. They may not sin as much because they have more knowledge of how not to and what words they should and should not follow. What patterns in life to conduct themselves as. We all should kind of know that with a lot of common sense. But preachers, I think, are really held to a higher standard when it comes to that. That's a real thing. That's hard. I remember one time when I was a little boy, about 6 years old, my mama took me to a big old church in Newark, New Jersey. And it was this preacher that everybody was following across the country named Reverend Skinner. Some of y'all might even know who I'm talking about if you're my age. But I was a little boy then. My mama put me in a pinstripe suit, and we were on the when you walk down the aisle, the seat right by the aisle. I was sitting right there. My mother's right beside me. So he's coming through with his big old cape and his entourage and everybody and all his gold, and he was just looking, fabulous, man. People were just like, he was the kind of preacher that lay hands on you and knock the whole church down. Lay hands on one person, the whole church fall. That's the kind of man he was, right? So here he comes. He come up to me now. I'm standing there looking at him in awe, like he was like bigger than a giant, And he put his hand on my head. He stopped at me. Out of all of them people and hundreds of people in that church, he stopped at me and put his hand on my head. I didn't fall. He prophesied something. He said out loud what a church can hear, "You, son, one day going to be a preacher." I was like, really? In my kid voice. Yeah, I didn't know. But guess what? Maybe I'm a different type of preacher. Maybe I'm not the traditional preacher. That's a burden. That's a heavy, heavy thing to have on you, man. You got to love people, and you got to love God to spread his word to people that are rotten to the core. You got to constantly look past their flaws You can't take it personal. You can't take what they do and how they respond in a personal way. That's right. My mom will tell you that's a true story, right? You can't take these things as a preacher personal. When you hear all of these stories, people coming to you as a preacher, they just think if you were in the shoes of a preacher. And people are coming to you with their situations in life, right? And they're laying it on you, man. And they're looking for you, the preacher, the leader in Christ, to tell them something they can hang on to. And you got to make sure you're telling them biblical stuff that you know they can use if they try. You got to always be on point with that. That's a heavy burden, man. I couldn't do that. The way that you see that I am today, just loving to talk and loving to give you my experiences of life and how I overcome them and what I feel that might be a good help to you to help overcome them as well in your life, this is what I feel comfortable doing. If this is ministering to people, well, okay, maybe Reverend Skinner back in the day was right, because this is a whole different type of ministry for me. Whole different. You know, because I'm still a work in progress. I'm not putting that front up like I'm a perfect a perfect human being at all. You're gonna see me mess up. You're gonna hear me mess up, and I'm gonna come to you and tell you I messed up. Dag nabbit, I messed that up, man. Dag nabbit, man, I feel like crap, and I will tell it to you. I use myself as example on if I've passed particular tests or not. And by you hearing my story, that I failed or succeeded in particular tests, hope that would motivate you to pass your tests that you have to go through. Your personal test that nobody can pass for you. You have to do it yourself. The only way you can do it successfully is to process information and distribute them around in your mental status in the right places. Keep yourself grounded. Is very, very important, family. So anytime you hear me yabbing, gabbing, or whatever, you can best believe it's something that I have personally experienced. I'm not going to talk about something that I have not experienced. And if I do, it's a very short talk. Because if I don't know a lot, how can I really give good advice on it? If I don't know a lot about it. So whatever you hear me getting, excited about when I get to talking is because I've been through that thing. I've been through some crap. God willing that I'll make a later age, I'll make it to a later age and be able to tell stories just like I'm telling right now. True stories. Things that have really happened in my time. And there's a lot more. Because I go back in my memory bank. Some say I'm losing my memory, because I'm getting old and I don't remember stuff. If it's important to me, if it made an impact on me, I remember it. I do forget like any other human being. We all forget sometimes. Sometimes we need something to jar it back. That's how it is with me. You feel me? Hey, y'all. I think it's about that time, y'all. Yeah. I didn't go over my time this time because I've been lately going over. So I'm trying to get into control of that. You know what I mean? Trying to stick to my time, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm going to end you with this. First off, tell somebody you love them. Maybe it could be call somebody up that you haven't heard from in a long time and say, I was thinking about you. And when you end off your conversation, I love you, sister. I love you, brother. Bam. Done. Do that. That's you. Matter of fact, even if it's somebody that you know inside you don't care for too much. You know what I mean? Can you do that? Can you look at somebody that you don't care for too much and tell them that you love them? You love them as a human being. You may not particularly love them like, hey, I want you hanging out with me every day and all that. No, I get it. But just simply say, I love you, bro. Bam, gone. You know what I mean? Can you do that? I'm doing it right now. Look at this. It's easy for me. I get to reach out to a whole bunch of y'all at the same damn time. So I'm gonna do it like this. I love you, bro. Remember that time when you bullied me? You call yourself beating me up over some girl? Hey man, I love you, bro. Peace. Remember that time when you stole my dad cookies in school? Remember that? Chump. Guess what? I forgive you, man. I love you. Huh? That's change. I'm starting to practice what I preach. You can best believe it's working for me. So listen, on that note, y'all, treat people. Let me do it this way for my YouTube fam. Treat people like you want to be treated, and it'll come back around because it has for me. You see, Facebook, y'all don't get that. They get all that reverb. It's just like, you guys don't get that. I don't have it that good, but I have it hooked up, and they do the same. I don't know how to do that. I got to get a professional to show me that. But anyway, I'm going to shut this down for the day. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. It's my birthday, y'all. Well, let me finish celebrating the rest of my birthday. That's why I told y'all before, this is my month. It ain't because it's Black History Month. It's my birthday month. Yeah, y'all. On that note, y'all, peace and one love. Let me see if I can hit this right. Peace and one love. Yeah.